Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Deluxe, the HYDRA Stomper from Marvel Studios' What If on Disney+. This is one that I'm very excited about, so big shout out and thank you to Toy Maestro and Swamp Scum on Instagram. Swamp Scum is from Canada, and between him and Toy Maestro, they were able to secure one of these HYDRA Stompers for me and get it sent out my way. So both of you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Check them out. Links to each of their Instagrams in the video description below. But here we have the HYDRA Stomper, and this is a beefy figure. Like, I did not anticipate how large this figure package would be. So for size comparison, here is the Ironmonger. So as you can see how large Ironmonger is, so the packaging will help give you an idea. Here is the Hulkbuster. So that packaging is quite large. So let's get these guys out of the way. And then to show you a standard Marvel Legends box is there. So think about the size and how large he is. So it's awesome. You can see the accessories and stuff. Side artwork of the HYDRA Stomper looking very cool. So just to give you an idea, again, side package. This thing's beefy. It is heavy too. It is crazy. So there are reports of sightings at Target. People are able to do like an online order for store pickup. I hear Big Bad Toy Store is now starting to process orders. I don't know about other sites or anything like that. So be on the lookout. Up in Canada, Toys R Us has started to receive them. So not a whole lot going on down here, but a little bit. It's working its way. But this is one I'm very excited about. We get a little like Watcher logo there at the top. The back of the package, we get some awesome artwork of the HYDRA Stomper there. In the bio reads, in the universe you know, Steve Rogers was the first Avenger, Captain America. In this universe, Steve is injured and fights in the HYDRA Stomper, an Iron Man armor created by Howard Stark. So, pretty interesting. If you guys have watched it, it was the first episode of What If, Captain Carter. Very good episode, I must add. It was a great way to start the season of What If. And we also have a really awesome figure to go with that, the Captain Carter figure. So as you can see there, this thing is quite large in comparison to a regular figure. So that's enough of that. Let's get it out of the box. Okay, and here is the HYDRA Stomper figure out of the package. And he comes with quite a bit of stuff. And some of the stuff we actually need to kind of assemble and put together. So I'm going to kind of move my camera a little bit closer here. We can't get the HYDRA Stomper completely in frame. But I want to go over some of the accessories first. So here we have these blast effects. So these are the same type of effects that we would get with Iron Man figures, just you know, a lot larger in size. So we get, you know, yellow plastic, looks like it's a paint that's applied to it, and you kind of get this spray look on it there, and that looks pretty cool. We get two of those there. We get a pair of interchangeable hands. So out of the package, the figure has these open hands, and then we get a pair of fists like so. And then we get these three pieces here, and this will kind of be like the jetpack that kind of needs to get put together. So I need to see, you know, which side's going to be the front, which side's going to be the back. Well, I guess if they have this hose here, it's probably going to supposed to look like it connects there, I assume. Which does make sense. So you can put that there, and you can see it's going to port into the back of the figure. Like so back there. So before I get into it, before I zoom in and we take a closer look at the details, I did watch E. Rivera's review, and he was talking about how it kind of gets wobbly and doesn't want to stand. And holy moly, like this guy just wants to rock back and forth. It's the strangest thing, the design of these feet. And I don't know what Hasbro was thinking. Like, it doesn't make sense. E. Rivera, he had mentioned like the feet were rounded. They don't look rounded, but they're definitely not like flat. I don't know what it is. And the way the foot is, you can see the foot, and it's very lower leg heavy, and then you see this gap. So the foot doesn't even like spread out across the whole base of the figure to help stabilize it. So it's just a very odd design. And the back of the foot has this weird looking thing. It almost looks as if you can pull like this tab or something to help stabilize it, but it's not. That's just sculpted oddly, and I don't really understand it. So what a very cool looking figure immediately becomes a little bit of a disappointment. So it's really a bummer, but it does look really awesome. So let's zoom in and take a look at the cool details of the figure. Okay, so this is about as zoomed in as I can get. The helmet looks really cool from there. What I want to do is I want to pop that helmet off a little bit later. And I'm going to see if, like, the Steve Rogers from the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger, see if that head pops on there. It's not, you know, exactly the scrawny Steve look, but, you know, we're going to go for it. We see C-15 there. We get the star printed on there. I think that's kind of the power glow effect. That's what powers the suit. You know, it was designed with power from the Tesseract. We get this piece here. It's got this handle. This is a rubber overlay piece that's in that waist ball in there. So it's kind of interesting, the design of it that way. Looking at the back, again, we're going to port this jetpack in there. We're just going to import it in like so. And surprisingly, the jetpack's very heavy, but surprisingly, it holds really well on there. But then it really makes it back heavy. So remember when I talked about the feet, how you see the feet don't cover the whole entire base of the figure? You add in this jetpack and boom, it does not support the weight of the figure. This is like, it just really doesn't make sense. Now here you can get it to stand, but you see how he's leaning forward? Like, that's not a good look. Like, you just can't get it to stand. So that's really unfortunate. Like, that's just too bad. But as we kind of move closer in, the jetpack has some really cool details though. So here you see the blast effect. So these effect pieces will port in like so to give that blast effect. But what Hasbro did is they added some black wash paint at the bottom of these of the blasters to give it a burnt look, and that is a really nice detail, something we typically would not see. And I love that they did it, because it just adds a little bit of a nice detail. Usually we would just get, you know, this flat olive green across the whole thing and call it a day. But we get that nice added detail on there. These clipped onto the back, so you can kind of adjust it a little bit. So for the HYDRA Stomper, you can actually put these jetpacks like this. And I'm trying to think from the show, you know, I don't think he flew on it that way, because when he was flying, Captain Carter was on top, you know, holding on to this handle there. But you could move those around if you wanted to. Back to the jetpack, there is some other colors in there. You see this darker green for these like vents on the casings and stuff. So that is all pretty cool. The sculpt is pretty nice. Going back to the figure, we actually get a barrel here for a gun attached to the arm, and that's done in a darker green to kind of show some different color for that weapon. We don't get a whole lot of other colors in here. You see this little spot there has kind of a little spot of paint to show a little bit darker color. Right here there's a little bit, but other than that, it's the same color kind of throughout. We get a little bit of darker color on the feet also, but for the most part throughout the whole figure, it's just a regular color. The knees, we got these vent looking things, and it's done with that darker color in there as well. We get these handles here at the knee, and then a couple on the thigh, one here at the waist, and a couple here at the top, you know, for when somebody's going to be entering into the HYDRA Stomper. So that is pretty cool. Another thing is the way they sculpted part of this body. It almost looks as if it could open up, so it has kind of a realistic look to it, to where this whole thing would open up to reveal Steve Rogers. Obviously it doesn't, but the way they did the sculpt of the lines and stuff, it actually looks like it's something that would open up. So that is pretty cool. And then throughout the arm, it also looks like we got some vent things. So that is the up-close look at the HYDRA Stomper. So let's see if I could pop this head off and put a Steve Rogers head on there. So I popped the head off the HYDRA Stomper, and you can see the ball joint comes off with the head. So I will not be able to put a Steve Rogers head on there, unfortunately. I thought that would have been a really cool thing, even if the Steve Rogers head, you know, wasn't really accurate to how he looked in the show. But that's something that would have been cool. You could just kind of rest the head on there. I guess, but you know, either way, it wouldn't have been accurate, but I thought it would be cool at least. Okay, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to keep this fully in frame to go over the articulation, but I'll kind of do my best to show you guys. So the head, as you saw, was on a ball joint, so you can get all kinds of circular motion, pivot, and everything going on in there. You can do a full swivel rotation as well. The arms, the shoulders, they have this shoulder pad, but like with most Iron Man figures, that shoulder pad works with that shoulder, so it doesn't get in the way. You can get the arm to go out straight that much. You saw the full rotation in there. You have an upper bicep swivel. It looks like we have a single jointed elbow, so it gives us about 90 degrees at the elbow. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. So we have that standard horizontal hinge there. Now the torso, we get a couple different spots. So we have a swivel there, as you can see. And then it's kind of on a ball joint. It feels like it's on a ball joint, but it doesn't really want to pivot either way. And I think what's throwing it off is this rubber belt piece is in there. So it's like you have the hip, and then you have this rubber piece, and then this upper torso is on there. It sucks that we don't, I guess we can get a little bit of pivot. I got it. And then, there we go. So a little pivot to the other side, not really a whole lot. And it's not really going to come forward or go back. Unfortunately, again, just at the waist swivel there. You can actually get that rubber belt piece to move with the waist, but be careful there. The legs go out that far apart there. You can kick forward that much. That handle just hits that hip, so that kind of sucks. You can work the leg a little bit if you kind of have it go up and then out a bit. You can get it to kind of kick forward, but this left leg with that handle does kind of make it a little bit tricky to work, so you have to kind of turn it to kind of get some motion in there. But there is an upper thigh cut in there, as you can see. Single jointed knee, that gives us a 90-degree bend, and it's a ratcheting, so you only get like 3 points on there. And then here we have the weird ass ankles and feet, so it's this giant ankle ball that's pegged into the leg. So you get a swivel in there, and you get some rubber pieces to kind of help work it around. So you get some ankle pivot on that foot. There are peg holes in there, but you have to work the foot a little bit, so it hinges down some. You get some hinge going up as well, but again, you don't get a full support of the foot holding the entire figure. Just such an odd design. These feet are terrible. Look, he just rock back and forth, and doesn't. It's just a really bad design on those feet. But he's bulky. He's pretty limited in articulation. I wouldn't have expected a whole lot. It's this gigantic suit of armor built in the 40s. He's not going to move around a whole lot, but he can fly. Once you add the jetpack, he just can't stand. So we're going to put that jetpack back on. And he's just going to fall back. So again, he cannot stand with this thing on there unless you like lean him forward, but then it just looks kind of funky. To swap out the hands, you would get the hand that you want, and then just pull out the hand, and you can just port the hand right on in there, and it goes in nice and easy there. I'm looking at the barrel of this gun, and I wonder, does this blast effect does not port into that barrel there. There's this other one down below. It's not very deep, but I guess you could, maybe if you pulled this portion off, which doesn't want to come off on this. I know on the Iron Man ones it does. Maybe this one it won't. But I would try to get it to port in there. It doesn't really work, to have some kind of blast effect. But yeah, I can't get him to stand. That's super frustrating and really disappointing for such an awesome looking figure. Yeah, I can't do it. Okay, so the next thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show Captain Carter holding on to it. So she has the one hand that could be like the holding hand. This handle is actually really small though. She's not actually going to grip on that. You can kind of hook it, but she's not going to actually get a firm grip on that handle, which sucks. If you watch the show, she actually held onto it with her right hand and then had the shield in her left hand, so she would have been riding it on the back of the HYDRA Stomper, you know, holding that part and then having her shield in the opposite hand. But you can't really you can't really do that. And the limited articulation of the Captain Carter figure is you can't really get her hunched into any position and pose that you had seen from the show. So I'm going to work around it a little bit to see kind of the best that I'm going to get it. But just a heads up on that, you know, there's some kind of funky limitations to how it should really be set up. Okay, so I'm beyond frustrated trying to get this to work. So E. Rivera made it seem a little bit easier, but I have the HYDRA Stomper standing on his own, but he's leaning super far forward. Let me show you the camera if you can see how I have to do it. He's leaning super far forward. And that's not really like ideal of how you want to display it, how you're going to do it, and it's not stable whatsoever. And because Captain Carter does not have a good firm grip over that handle, she falls off like crazy. So it was hard to get her to stay on there while also getting the HYDRA Stomper to stand without falling over. It's taken me like 15 minutes just to do that, and it really gets beyond frustrating. So the way she kind of rests on there is not really ideal either. So you have to really play around with it to kind of get it to work and make sense. But it's really tough. I mean, this thing is leaning so far forward just to get it to stand. It's crazy. It's such a bad design on the feet, and I don't get it. Like, why, how Hasbro thought that these feet were somehow going to be okay. And I don't know if it's the rubberness of the feet that makes it to where they are like rounded and not completely flat and level. Just doesn't make sense to me. And it's such a letdown, and it's such disappointment because the figure really does look awesome, and I was super excited to get it, and I'm still happy to have it. So for your display, if you're just going to leave it standing there, once you get it to stand, probably not with the jetpack, once you get it to stand, it's going to look awesome on your shelf. It really is. But when you want to do stuff with it, so if you're looking for photography and to do things, I think it's going to be a challenge. I really do. I think you're going to have a hard time doing it. And that sucks. You know, you want to be able to have fun with it and do some really cool stuff. And unfortunately, I just don't think that's going to be possible with this figure. Okay, so for some size comparisons, here is the HYDRA Stomper next to the Captain Carter figure and the Captain America First Avenger Steve Rogers that was in the 2-pack with Peggy Carter that was exclusive to Amazon. Let's see some more. Okay, so here we have the big guys. So we got the Hulkbuster, the Ironmonger, and the HYDRA Stomper here. One thing that the Hulkbuster and the Ironmonger figures do is look at the feet. So notice on Ironmonger how you have the foot that extends beyond the width of the figure, the base of the figure, to help make sure that it stabilizes and it balances. The Hulkbuster, same thing on the feet, goes beyond the figure to make sure that it has a solid base and foundation to hold the weight of the figure up and get it to stand. Why the HYDRA Stomper chose to ignore that is beyond me. Like, I don't understand the thought process on the feet there. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. For such an awesome looking figure and armor, I wanted so much more. I hoped for so much more, and quite frankly, we deserve so much more. Okay, so here are all our What If figures that were released. So I'm happy they're all MCU. I love that. But the HYDRA Stomper, for me, kind of loses it. Same with the Heist Nebula. Just don't really care much for that figure. It's awesome that we got this many figures from the show, but the show has been fantastic, and I would love to get so many more figures from the show. But some of the episodes in particular, like the T'Challa as Star-Lord, I would love to get the Collector. The zombie episode, I'd love to get everyone from that episode. I think it would be awesome. Party Thor, even Thor would be really cool to get. You know, we definitely should have gotten an Ultron Vision, Ultron, Ultimate Ultron, Vision, Prime, I don't even remember what he was called, but that figure we absolutely should have gotten. Now that would have probably been spoilery, but although the promo art and stuff has come out and we had seen it, so that would be pretty cool. You know, we have one episode left. I think that's probably, you guys may have watched it actually by the time you guys watch this video. I'll be waiting to watch it with my kids. But, you know, solid round of figures. The HYDRA Stomper, it looks amazing. It's going to look awesome on a shelf in anybody's collection. It's got its faults, and they are big ones that are really concerning, that are really going to kind of inform your decision on if you're going to purchase it or if you're not. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to do all kinds of poses, get all kinds of photography, I think you may want to skip out on it. If you want it to just display on your shelf, vanilla, that can work. You can do that. That's how I do it. So it's good for me, but it's definitely a problem when you want to do stuff with it, unfortunately. But the What If figures all look really nice together. The Watcher is pretty badass. Oh, I'd love to get the Watcher in his armor, right? That'd be really cool. But Marvel Studios, What If? You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of all the figures. What do you think of the show? Okay, that's my review. I know this is probably a depressing video. I try to be upbeat, and I'm usually really excited. I started off the review very excited for this figure, and then I opened it up and I'm like, oh, shit. So it sucks, man. It's when you're really looking forward to such a cool-looking design and everything, and then when you get the figure in hand and it disappoints, it sucks, right? That's how I feel with this figure. Again, looks really cool. The sculpted details on this guy are really nice. I love the burnt ends of the jetpack that they put on there. I think that was just such a nice touch and just looks so awesome. The sculpted detail of it and everything is really cool. It's just the feet really, really kill this figure, and it's such a small thing that it's just the feet. If the feet were better, this thing would be phenomenal, and I would recommend it for everybody. But with the feet the way they are, it's a tough one. You know, I think, again, you know, if you're into photography, it's probably not going to work out great unless you use all kind of weird stands, and you can either edit them out or hide them well. If you're just going to vanilla pose, I say go for it. It looks incredible on a shelf, just standing there. But, you know, it just depends on, you know, how you collect, how you display, and kind of what you want. But for me, it was a must. I'm an MCU collector. That's my thing. MCU figures, I get them all. Good or bad, I collect them all. I love them anyway because of what they are, what they represent. But anyway, I've rambled on and on. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of the figure. Are you disappointed like I am? Has it changed your mind on picking up the figure? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.